We're live.
Yeah,
We're live.
are we live? Yeah, we're live again. Oh my days. I can't believe that the boss cut us off. Oh, right. I had no comments left yet. So I don't even know if anyone's watching now. So
Hello, everyone. If you're back, give
right.
us
So
a
I'm just
comment.
waiting for. Yes, we've got.
Joanna's back.
We've got some viewers back.
Woo!
Hi.
Welcome
Sorry,
back.
everybody. Our lovely boss, Gary, kind of kicked us off when he come out. So, it crashed. So, my days. Oh. Right. So, where was we when we got rudely interrupted by the boss? Oh, hang on. We got no volume from Di. Hang on. Right, so what are you picking up, Craig, until we can get Di back?
Right. We've had some names come up. I'll throw them out just to see whether or not anybody can actually pick anything up on them. The first one was Andrew. We've had the Valerie keeps coming through. We've had
Yeah.
what was it? Lash as well. And then shortly after that
Okay.
was Drag.
Wow. Also, just before we got cut off,
Okay.
Joanna mentioned the name John as well, and it'd be good to see how John was connected from you, Joanna. So yeah, it'd be good to hear what your connection was with John as well, and if you're picking any of the names up that Craig's just shared.
Cool. And also, we've got the number 3 as well.
Okay, can you everybody hear me now?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now.
Hi, everybody. Right.
Right, I'm just
Obviously, Gary's upset the flow. Right. Okay. Now, because the time is ticking, and obviously we've lost that connection, I want everybody to work with us. Do we know if Julie's back with us? Joanna, we've got quite a few people back with us. Okay. Now, I will give
we've got a few people back with us.
Okay, the relevance of this area we are actually in. The Ghost Box is talking, and obviously Craig has got a lot of things that have come up immediately. The vision that I had, now this will lead you to where we are, okay? We've got to go back to mid-1960s. The vision I had was I am near water. I have clearly seen an assault on another child, and then it's my demise. It is horrific.
Yeah, just had diabolical come through.
Yeah, it is sexual attack, and I am a friend who was onlooking, and I had to be silenced because I did know my murderer. Okay, now it is a very, very, very historical thing that happened in our tiny little hamlet, tiny little villages, and it affected, back in the day, 200 local men. We had the Met Police take over the investigation. It was sidetracked by the Thames Valley, which is our local police force. The Met came out. There has always been suspicion, speculation, etc. The gentleman in question who was charged with the murders did have day release back in the early, the late 1980s. He absconded and he was rearrested. on his rearrest, they opened up another case where he was charged with a third murder. So obviously, 3 coming through the spirit box when we arrived. Valerie is relevant to the area because everybody knew of the victims. My own mother saw these 2 little girls the day before they were murdered. My mum was a 16-year-old who was attending the local chicken farm, and she'd forgotten to get a broom to clear out the pens, and one of the little girls ran along and got a shovel, and my mum gave them money for them to buy an ice cream. That's the last time my mum saw them. The next day there was a manhunt for these for the murder of these.
I remember you telling me about this ago.
Yeah, but there also the relevance is there is children. It's Craig, you're picking something up on the box, aren't you?
Yeah. We're going off on a different tangent now.
Right, okay. Right, I was hoping that somebody would be able to...
Joanna was told the name John suddenly.
That's mad.
Yeah. No, don't know what John...
My computer's not very responsive.
There is a relevance to John. It's a small relevance, but there is a relevance that links to the bigger one, I would say.
Yeah. Anybody picking? Yeah,
newspapers is relevant.
Very, very relevant, because the third.
Yeah, I've got a few things coming through.
Right. The relevance of newspapers is because it is a local farming community. Obviously, when I did a screen around where we actually are, it's very, very remote. There was a barn that was built, and the third victim, to whom the DNA was found, was on a fertilizer bag within the barn of the convicted murderer of the third victim, and on her DNA, his DNA was found on her hairband, which was used for her murder. So there is a relevance with that, and the local farm owner at the time, John, is relevant to that. The area in which we are in, there is a lot of relevance. So, but there's also, like I'm saying, there's 2 other incidences on this road alone that nobody's picked up on, and it is really, really relevant. One of them's quite 2019. It is so relevant for the whole of Britain. It hit the headlines, and it's still today very, very prominent in all of our minds. Very prominent in all of our minds. You know.
Right, I've got a load of information to give out now. Right, we've got Paul ring a bell. We got the name Debbie. Ellen Gould has mentioned Dead Man, and then she mentions Dead Man Hill, and then Julie says keep quiet. That's what she's hearing. Sean's mentioned he's got pigs, and Laura, is there a bridge that's relevant?
Yes.
And Sandra is getting the name Raymond.
Okay, Bridge Hill.
So,
yes, all very, very relevant to the case, which 2019. Totally relevant. Totally, 100%. Keep working on it, guys, because when you come, in the next 10 minutes or so, when we explain exactly where we are, you will all go like,
Hi, Chris.
because it is so relevant. So relevant.
So Sean got pigs.
Yes.
Can you, for Tony, can you expand
Yes.
a little bit on the pigs and what you're getting? What's the connection to the pigs? It's really, you know what's so difficult about doing this bit is we see words and we're like, we can see connections, but we can't say too much because then we give it away and there's
Yeah.
like a 15-minute show. So, like, what you're getting with pigs, expand a bit, give us a bit more information because there are some really good connections coming out. And you're all going to be absolutely amazed when Di comes over at the end and shares some of this information. I'll fill in some gaps as well.
Right, Craig, what are you getting as well now, darling? Because you can say it out.
Well,
Yes,
the box-
Sue. Yes,
the bo-
Sue. 100%.
The box going on a different tangent now.
Right,
It's
which way are you going?
It's talking about a gang. It's mentioned gypsies. The Paratex, right, absolutely 100% spot on. And then just after that came through on the Paratech, it said they should have stopped.
Oh.
And it's like, and at that point, the K2 was like in the red.
Wow. Are you okay, Diane?
Yeah.
It's emotional here, isn't it? It is. It really is.
My girls were born on this
Sue
road.
Ellis Brown has mentioned the name. Sue Ellis Brown mentioned the name Andrew Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah, the box has just picked that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, Tony says Sean got pig den and human limbs being fed to them.
Beautiful.
Are you okay, Diane? Do you need me to take you off the screen for a moment?
No, we're all right. Honestly, it's really difficult because this has affected everybody in our local community. And yes, the road in which I am on is the road that Andrew Harper was killed on, and they should have stopped. And yes, quad bikes, yes, Denise, yeah, they stole the quad bikes and the police were in pursuit and Andy was dragged. This is the road that PC Andrew Harper was dragged on and killed in the line of duty and service. But this is one of the aspects of where we are. The relevance is it's pig farming community. The pigs are all out in the fields, and obviously they tried to dump the bike, and the bit where Andrew had his leg lassoed and was dragged, it is the farmer is John as well, so there's a relevance to that. It is a very highly charged area for such a sleepy little lane. But the main aspect of why we're here tonight, Andy and Lizzie had only got married in May. They'd only been married 8 weeks when he was murdered. You know, they say manslaughter, but he was murdered. Gypsies, yes, 3 local gypsies, gypsy lads. Yeah, it is relevant, but we also are aware that a lot of things are still to come to light. Things have got to change. Things have got to change in Britain. You know, even last week with the football and the hooliganism and all the rest of it. You know, we eradicated that surely in the 80s. You know, there's not a place for that. And
yeah,
this is never going. You know, any servicemen, ex officers. Yes, 1987 is relevant, David, because that was to do with the case that where I am actually located. is relevant because that was when the DNA came to light about the third murder, for a different case that dates back to the 1966, 1967, which is still to this day so relevant to the local communities. DNA has come a long way, but then there was also the aspect of a local wealthy farm owner. His son was a predator. There has been so many things that have been said to the police that have been pushed aside. You know, we could turn around and go, 56 years later, on the 21st of July.
What's
Gene-
up, Craig?
Well, I've got two things going on with the box at the moment. There was a girl's name came up, which was Lalandi.
Yolandi.
And then just after Lalandi came up, the box turned around and said, left her.
He left her body.
And then just after that, it came back to, and it came up with the name Harper and pulled.
Yeah, he was pulled, he was dragged, Andy was.
Okay.
Yolandi.
Laura got the name. And
So if I can
Laura
get
got the
list
name
back up.
Jean in her head.
Yeah, well, one of the little girls' name was Jeanette.
Julie says, why am I getting a belt?
About, well, it was a strap. It was a strap that
Very similar.
lassoed Andy and dragged him. And they were,
Laura says, could be Ginny.
no, Jeanette. Jean is right. Jeanette. Yeah, that's. You're right, Laura. You're right with your first with Jean, but it was Jeanette. So you are 100% right with that one, my darling. Don't know what. Obviously, I wasn't born until 1972. Don't know what her pet name was by her parents. Like I said, there is still surviving parents today that lost their two little girls back on the 21st of July 1966. So it is raw for everybody. It's one of these things that I was a pub manager in this area, and we're Fuller's run pubs, and we used to get the Met Police out, and it is still spoken about even back in between the 1990s, 2000s, even when I had my girls. It's still in everybody's thoughts, and these little girls will never be forgotten, and that's the most important thing. These little girls will never ever be forgotten. And the referral to, like everybody said, if you look in the newspapers, you've got the Soham cases. Those little girls knew who their murderer was. These little girls knew who their murderer was. And it's...
Absolutely.
This is why we do what we do, to make this connection. And obviously, there is life after death. And I just pray for peace. And, until we can all meet up again one day, these parents will be connected with their babies. Nothing in this world could be worse than losing a child under these circumstances, and this is what breaks my heart.
Yeah. A couple of people have come up with a Holly. Tony, Sean got the name Holly, and Joanna mentioned that she got the name Holly too. And Laura says he tricked them into going with him. They trusted him. And Sue also mentioned a train crash and suicide.
Yes, so that is the other. Yes, after Nervit rail crash, we are literally at the top of the hill. We are on Admiral Lane. After Nervit is across the A4. We were going to go there tonight, but the relevance of the date, today is my Holly's birthday. Holly was going to come and do this investigation. And obviously, with the referral of Holly and Jessica Soham murders, it is in everybody's mind. There is the relevance. It's no, we're not in Ian Huntley's area, but the relevance is 2 little girls knew who their murderer were. Nobody would. The vision that I had, I was watching as my friend was being drowned and held underwater at the gravel pit. And I was screaming for my mum. And I had to be silenced. So that in itself, before we were disconnected, would prove to me that the man that they did charge is guilty without a shadow of a doubt. The relevance of his whole persona, to the point that he went into the pub and actually brought one of the victims' fathers a pint of beer, knowing that he'd murdered his daughter. I think so. Yeah, Laura, I think he did take.
Laura wants to know.
Yeah, I just see that. I think it's. But his DNA was all over Yolandi Waddington, who was the au pair that was murdered. And the case was reopened. DNA has come a long, long way. And in 1987, he absconded from Ley Hill Prison, was rearrested, and with the DNA, he was charged with the 3rd murder. So you had the 2 little girls, and then the au pair at Beanham, Reading, with the triple murder. So he's serving life. He's serving life. And then obviously you've got PC
Right,
Andy
just before
Marker.
we go. Yeah, absolutely. Just before we go to Dan,
Hello.
what he's been getting found, right? I want to go to Crane to see if he's picking anything up. Yeah, still.
Yeah, we're still on the Andrew Harper bit. I've had a couple of bits. So while I've been listening to Di, when she was talking about the little girls, since I've been in this location, I've had 2 young girls come through. One of them's asking for a mummy and the other one's asking for a daddy. So don't know if one of them was a mummy's girl and the other was a daddy's girl. But when we finished up with the Andrew Harper bit just now, there was a really clear message from like an elderly lady, and she said it as clear as day. She just said, he's at peace now.
Oh,
And it's like, yeah, as I say, sort of like, yes, it's emotional here, I can tell you that.
Bless.
it is very, very, you know, my heart breaks every time I see Lizzie on the telly trying to get the law that our service, our police officers, whether male or female, are there to protect us. You know, if a child's lost, what do we tell them? Go tell a policeman. You know, they're there.
Yeah,
they do a job.
absolutely.
They do an amazing job. But it's like soldiers, I suppose. You know, soldiers go to war to protect Queen and country. They put their life on the line. You don't expect it in today's modern society for a police officer to go to work and, under those circumstances, all for a stolen quad bike.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
horrific. Horrific.
It is, it really is. Right, Dan,
Hi.
can you shed any light on everything that people have been saying?
Yeah, there's some stuff that obviously in the background I've seen. So we had John that came out earlier. John was the brother of David Burgess.
Yeah.
So that was a connection, which is where I was trying to establish a little bit more. Someone mentioned stabbing in the chest earlier. There were 2 stab wounds in the torso, so would have had relevance. And you'll see now why it's really easy for someone to say, I'm picking up stabbing. We want to hear a bit more. We want to hear details so that we can then really link that evidence together. We had some stuff around water and wells.
Yeah.
Jacqueline's body was found laying face down in a pool of water. I think Sean it was that mentioned about the pigs, and Di already mentioned about the farm. Two of the farm labourers, bloodstained clothing had been beneath hay bales in a cow shed. Yolande worked for the Jagger family at Oakwood Farm. There was also, we kept getting both on the spirit box, and a couple of people mentioned it as well, the daughter who was trying to find her mummy. There was a daughter and mum that died in the train crash as a result of someone trying to commit suicide. And I think we had quite early on that there was a presence of suicide that was being found. And then someone else talked about hanging, but they put a little bit more specific around the rope, and there was believed that it was more of a manual hanging that was done. So as Di said, he used a strap to kind of strangle one of the girls, which is, very, very sad and unfortunate. So loads of great stuff that you folks have been coming up with. There's loads of great evidence that has come out of the box. You heard loads of names that Craig was sharing with us that obviously as soon as we give away loads of the stuff that we're working on. So yeah, thank you all so much. Some really great things that you've picked up.
Brilliant.
Oh, one more thing. We had
Absolutely.
Chloe who picked up the name Margaret. So Margaret was connected to Yolande,
Yes.
which would have had a children's connection because she was an au pair. She was the lead forensic investigator that when they were going back for all of the forensic evidence, she was the one that was in charge of identifying where that evidence had come from and trying to analyze the blood samples that have been submitted. So Margaret, which isn't a common name, right, is a really good connection that she picked up there as well. So yeah, great job.
Yeah, brilliant. So,
Brilliant.
so tonight was a
Does
bit of a
anybody
difference.
have anything to say? Yes. Absolutely. It was absolutely amazing. So, we've only got a couple of minutes until the end. I'm not sure if Trudy's on afterwards.
Trudy's not on tonight.
Trudy's psychic. She's not on tonight. I'm glad you've confirmed that because I didn't have a clue whether she was on or not tonight. So, but I just want to say thank you to Craig and Diane for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
You both were amazing, and I hope to have you come and join us again soon. And
Yeah.
Dan, of course, you my little star, my historian man.
Thank you.
So
Brilliant, Dan.
you're amazing too. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining in and watching us, and we hope to catch you again next. Hopefully, Gary won't kick us out next time. So
And
if you could bump up those likes and hearts, I just want to say thank you.
100%. And also, can we just say,
And keep
as of tomorrow, when things are sort of, I don't know, whether rightly or wrongly, are starting to open up again, keep coming and seeing us. GHT, go on our page, come to an event. Come on, feed that enthusiasm and let's strive towards finding more evidence of the afterlife and paranormal. You know, we only can do what we do, and, you know, let's all stick together. You know, this world is sad enough and miserable enough without us, you know, all doing what we do. So keep the enthusiasm going and let's get back to doing what we all love. Isn't that right, Craig, Danny?
Yep.
James?
Absolutely.
We are all GHT. We are all
Definitely.
free. We are a family.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll get to see you all on an event soon.
Yes.
So take care, everybody, and love you all.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye, darling.
Bye.
Soon.